probably some REITs looking at it, and he sold a lot of Gannett buildings across the country.
All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the September 15th Oshkosh Redevelopment Authority meeting. Please call the roll.
Birmingham,
Here.
Hintz,
Here.
Stam,
Here.
Blasky, Ponick,
Here.
Felter,
Here.
Palmieri.
Here. All right, next we have the approval of minutes and closed session minutes from August 19th.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes or corrections? All right, please call the roll.
Birmingham,
Aye.
Hintz,
Aye.
Stam,
Aye.
Ponick,
Aye.
Felter,
Aye.
Palmieri.
Aye. All right, next we have item number 3, 21-16, approve appointment of secretary, executive director for the Redevelopment Authority of the City of Oshkosh.
I'll move 21-16.
Second. All right, discussion. And I did bring copies of our bylaws in case anybody needs them.
And I have copies too, I can quick give out. I was just
Yeah,
trying
if
to get
anybody
this.
needs them for reference.
Is this position open to anyone?
Well, that's a really good question.
I'm just
For
curious.
it. You can do the minutes
I
and
don't
the,
want it.
From my understanding, from the creation of the RDA from 2003, it's traditionally been the community development director, with the exception, I think, of, maybe during a transitional period, city manager might have filled in. But when Mr. Davis came on in, I think it was 2009, there was, an appointment. So I think it just it's like a housekeeping thing for us. But the one thing I did notice is between the bylaws and the resolution is we don't have like a fixed term in there. And I would leave that to the group to discuss if that needs to be added or not.
Are you asking if that needs to be added to the motion or added to the bylaws, which would require a major change?
No, based on what the bylaws say, whether or not it needed to be amended to the resolution or not.
What?
Mr. Hintz?
I think in the absence of a term, it is sort of serves.
Can you pull the mic up closer to you?
Sure. Kind of serves at, an indefinite term, and the fact that we're linking that in with the executive director, with the community development director, it really would be tied in. I don't think we really need to add anything there. It probably would simply confuse what we got right now.
Anybody else, any discussion? All right, please take the roll.
Birmingham,
Aye.
Hintz,
Aye.
Stam,
Aye.
Ponick,
Aye.
Felter,
Aye.
Palmieri.
Aye. All right, moving on. Number 4, 21-17, approve offer to purchase 1024 Windsor Street, Fianola Properties LLC for $20,000. Can we have a motion and a second?
I'll move 21-17.
Second.
All right, discussion. Go ahead.
Staff can give you a little background on this project. This is over just south of 9th Street, and it is just pretty close to I-41. And if you recall, I think it was probably last year and even the year before that, the city was approached by multiple organizations, including like the police department. The owner of this property unfortunately needed some assistance, and at that time, Darlene Brandt in our office was very instrumental with helping her and getting her the care that she needs. But at the same time, the RDA did step in and declare that the home was blight because the condition that it was in, and just with, there was a lot of contents in the house, so it was unlivable. So the RDA did purchase it, the home was raised, and since then, I think you remember our last meeting, we mentioned that we've been putting for sale signs out on all of our properties, our RDA properties, to try to promote them and sell them, and we did receive an offer for this one. So that's kind of the background of how the RDA was involved in this, and the RDA owns it, and I think I'm going to let Stephen and or Mark talk a little bit about how the applicant, the prospective buyer, is utilizing another city program.
So I'll say a couple very quick comments and then we'll let Stephen take over. So starting in 2020, one of the newer programs our Healthy Neighborhoods initiative established was called New Homes in Your Neighborhood. It was a program designed to give a cash grant for infill properties. So somebody bought a property from the RDA and it was specifically tied to the RDA properties, that if somebody was willing to buy one and build a new owner-occupied home on it, we would provide a cash grant out of our Healthy Neighborhoods initiative to help offset that cost and to help really encourage infill development. But I'll let Stephen talk a little bit more about the specifics of the program and how it works.
Sure, thank you, Mark. So, as Mark mentioned, the New Homes in Your Neighborhood program is one of our newer housing programs, and it's really there to help offset the costs of redeveloping these vacant lots that are RDA owned. So it is a $15,000 basically reimbursable grant that is, it's reimbursed upon issuance of a certificate of occupancy. The first step in the program here, they applied for this, they presented some plans for a new single-family ranch home for this lot. From first look, in staff's opinion, this home would be appropriate architecturally for the neighborhood. Staff will look more closely and make sure that it meets the zoning standards and the building codes that are pertinent. But if you approve the sale of this property, then we will enter into a development agreement with the applicant and then move forward with this project. Again, as I mentioned, once the work is done and a certificate of occupancy is issued, as long as they met the terms of the development agreement and meet the applicable codes, et cetera, they would be reimbursed the $15,000.
So this is a program that we did create to encourage infill development on our RDA lots. And as you see in the picture here, these houses were built like Stephen, probably in the 1950s, 60s.
Right.
So it is an established neighborhood, but it's a nice neighborhood. So has beautiful trees. So we're really excited about this proposal for somebody to come forward to A, build on an RDA lot, get it back on the tax roll, but B, also utilize a city program. We're really hoping that this program will take off and more developers will utilize it to try to promote the infill development on our RDA lots. So the asking price was $20,000. So the applicant or the prospective buyer did agree to that. So city staff has gone through everything and everything is acceptable. The terms are acceptable to city staff.
So just a real quick question. When they say in their letter, number 5, the estimated value, that would be of the home they're planning to put on there?
That's correct.
Okay.
Just a quick question. How much do we have invested in the demo and raising and cleanup so far?
Stephen can help me out here. I think the raising was done by streets.
Usually, yes.
So we would have to pay for the tipping fees
Correct, yep.
to remove if there was any, materials. Yeah, exactly. And then we had it last winter and then obviously this spring, so we would have had snow removal and grass cutting and everything.
Yeah, I forget because it does vary as far as the tipping fees.
Right.
I forget if it's,
Does that get charged out directly to the RDA?
Yes. Yep, we take
Okay.
care of those fees when
So
we
when
demo
we
the
get to the
house.
point where we're looking at financials, it should be reflected in that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anybody else? All right, please take the roll.
Birmingham,
Aye.
Ince,
Aye.
Stam,
Aye.
Ponick,
Aye.
Belter,
Aye.
Palmieri.
Aye. All right, next we have Michigan Street and West Fourth Avenue developer presentations, approximately 5 minutes each. And the first is Wisconsin Redevelopment LLC. Please
Sure.
step.
Yep, Todd, if you want to just come to the desk over here. Yep.
Keep the timer.
Okay.
Hi, thanks for having us here today. I'm Todd Hutchison with Wisconsin Redevelopment, and this is Jason LaPlante with L12 Properties. I actually grew up in New London and lived in Milwaukee for about 30 years, and I moved to Oshkosh about 6 years ago. And at that time, I had seen this site and was very interested in developing something on it, but unfortunately, it was put under contract at that time. So had kind of forgotten about it, and actually Jason brought it to my attention a couple of weeks ago. We saw the signs out for sale, so we took another look at it. Our proposal is for 29 single-family, zero-lot line homes on the site. And so you can kind of see there on the site plan how they're laid out. Yeah, it's probably a little bit better site. So we kind of wrap around the site. They all have two-car attached garages. They all have balconies overlooking the river area, and then there's a common area in the middle. There would also be a private drive down through the center that would access the homes on either side of the street. So it's a concept that we had talked. We were actually in, I don't know, last year, maybe it was the year before with COVID. It's hard to remember now. But we stopped in here to take a look at the Pioneer Drive site. There was a railroad spur, and we had actually proposed something similar to this, where they're actually zero lot line homes where each home is owned by the homeowner, and then you have a homeowners association to take care of common area amenities like that. So this is sort of the site plan. Obviously, it's preliminary, and one of the things that we're looking for during our option period is to refine this development, but also take a look at, the environmental conditions on the site, the geotechnical issues on the site, and things of that nature. So there may be some revisions, obviously, to this as we move forward. I think you can maybe go to the next slide.
Nope.
Yeah, that's not it. I thought we had some actual floor plans, but maybe those didn't get loaded onto your presentation.
They should be in the
Yeah,
packet.
they're
think they're
in
in
here.
In the packet, yeah, we probably just kind of kept it more.
So you can actually see how the floor plans lay out in the packet. And I don't know if there's anything else that it's about a $10 million project in total. We're not asking for any assistance from the city at this point for the project. But again, we don't know what the conditions of the soil conditions and things like that. We're assuming that we're building this on essentially like a green site. So whatever extraordinary conditions we might come upon, we would probably come back to the city to ask for assistance with that. You'll also notice in the pro forma that we provided that we're right now we're essentially at a kind of a break-even number, and we're looking for a 10% return in addition to the developer fee. So that can occur, we believe, by a combination of either two different things. One, we can either possibly sell the homes for more. So right now, I think we've got them at $250 on the street side and $400 on the river side. So sort of an average of that. If we just do $25,000 better than that, we'll make our 10% number. So we can either do a combination of increased sales or reduction in purchase price or some of the holding costs. We have a 2-year holding period assumed, 2 years of construction and sales, and so that may be able to be modified somewhat as we work through the market study and things like that. In the latter, it also outlines everything that we'll be doing during this option period. So I don't know if I've never been before this committee before, so I don't know if this is the time for questions or, okay, sorry. So open it up for questions, I guess.
Is there shared walls between the units? Is that what I'm,
There's actually there's double walls with like a 1 to 2 inch air gap in between is actually how it works. And then there's obviously there's a cap on the top of the wall. What I had started to say was, when we looked at the Pioneer site and talked with Mark about that site and doing a similar concept, he had seen this from wherever he had come from previously, and I thought was somewhat intrigued by it. It's being done, the same architect that we're working with on this is doing, they're under construction right now on a similar project in Port Washington, and are just getting plans approved for another one in Ashwaubenon with a similar sort of zero lot line home style. So it is a new home style for Oshkosh. Actually, it's pretty new for the state of Wisconsin, but we think that people are going to appreciate that more than being part of a condo ownership association and really actually have direct ownership of each individual unit.
It sounds like this sounds very similar to condos, and there was a description of a homeowners association, so how is this different than that?
Well, it's somewhat different other than you actually own the roof, the exterior, the siding.
Okay.
So rather than being part of an association where the association owns the roof, the center walls, the interior, a lot of times the infrastructure, each homeowner owns all of that themselves, so they're responsible for it. Now, the homeowners association is put in place in order to maintain the common, like, green space area, the drive, things like that. So that's the difference between the two.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hintz?
Do you anticipate full construction at the same time?
No, I would anticipate, well, part of it is going to depend on demand, right? So once we start building, we'll find demand. Maybe there is demand for 29 all at the same time. But the nice thing about doing this is that we could phase it. We could do, the first 4, build them out, get them sold, do the second 4, build those out, get them sold out, and then either split up into groups of 4 again as we go along, or, whatever the appropriate grouping would be for the separate projects. But that's one of the benefits of doing this. We don't have to build the entire thing out all at the one time. And we can phase it in depending on the demand for the units.
Yeah. How long a phase-in period? I mean, obviously, I'm concerned about the completion end, which would be your longest assumption as to rents. What would you anticipate?
Yeah, well, I don't have a good handle on that, to be honest. I think part of that is what we're going to be doing with the market study during the option period. So when we do that market study, we'll be able to determine, what the demand is. I mean, not to throw Chet under the bus, but he was just telling me that he just sold out 20 condo units and single-family condo units, which is similar to this. They don't have, side-by-side walls, but he just sold them out across from the Y out on 20th Street. Obviously, it's a different area and it's a different market, but those all sold out. I'm not sure how long, but that's part of what the market study will prove out, is how long that takes to sell those out, what the demand is for these, and then we'll have a better idea of how quickly. And also the price-wise. I mean, again, those I think we're selling for anywhere from $270 to $325, and I've got, the cheapest ones at $250. So, like I said, if we can, and I think that this, there are some obviously positives to being on the river like this that I think are going to be attractive. So.
Thank you.
Speaking of the river, and it looks like, I know this is conceptual, but looks like it's building all the way down to like water's edge, and these being like at grade. Do you have any concerns about the flood zone and the
Yeah, well,
floodplain?
we will definitely have to make sure that they're out of the flood zone. So whether that means, building up or pulling a couple of those back, and maybe reducing the total number that are on there. So, but yeah, that's one of the things that'll have to be worked through during this due diligence period. And we'll be working with the DNR in terms of that, how, what's going to be allowable to raise up, what other offsets we have to do to accommodate that, things like that. But that's all part of the negotiation period that we need this, 6 months for.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And next is Wiesenberg Architects.
I think that's a typo.
So my name's Tim Hess, and this is Chet Wiesenberg. We work at 240 Algoma, right next door in the Beach Building. Here to talk about this. Part of Todd's story there was back in the day, it was under option. So we want to tell you a little bit about the history, because at the time, it was us, I think, that probably had it under option. So just so you can understand, you know, Chet has had his business here since 2004, and primarily we work in Oshkosh, and in doing so, we want to make sure that we continue to work with the city, have conversations, what is it that they want for these particular sites. And so that's what we did in this case. When we came in back then, we initially proposed something roughly analogous to what is sitting here in front of you today, without the west side of it. But what we were informed at the time was, you know, understand this was just after the Morgan District TIF was passed, and everybody was excited about what potentially was going there. And what we were told at the time was, no, we needed more density on the site. And so we came in proposing something that was alluded to by city staff to get substantially more density. What that meant was that we had to build up, and to get that many units on there and provide appropriate parking, we also had to provide underground parking. That turned the project into a 4 to potentially 5-story overall building. When you put that on there, you know, we do have a phase 2 done from a fair while ago, but the phase 2 is done, and it tells us there's definitely fill on here. That meant we needed geopiers, and if we built that high, we had to go substantially deeper, and that made the cost exponentially larger and cost prohibitive. So that's what ended up happening last time, you know. But what we learned is, you know, yes, there's contamination here. Yes, the whole boatworks site is technically in the 100-year floodplain, so we got to go up 2 feet. On the west side there, maybe a third of that is in the floodplain, so we'll have to go up there too. But we know there are soils issues. We know there's compacted petroleum potentially along the shoreline, such that if we touch that, if we choose to start to go in and try to dredge, you know, the number that we were told was like 2.5 million. So dredging that thing out and putting docks in there is probably pretty impossible. You know, we looked at some of the elements of what we had proposed for the RFP and felt this would potentially be a good site for the workforce affordable apartments. So that's what we're proposing here. And we came back in and had a conversation with city staff maybe a month ago and re-proposed this lower density sort of approach. And this time, no one gave us any comments about density, so that's where we're at today. I'll let Chet talk about the design and that sort of stuff.
Well, I don't know that I have too much to talk about the design, other than that, you know, after the 7th Street RFP and us not getting that, Tim and I kind of went back to the drawing board, and I sat down and I said, well, what is it we liked about this? What did we feel strongest about? And one of the things we felt strongest about was the workforce affordable apartments, and that there's a market for that. And that this type of construction, with slab on grade, with frost walls and geopiers and all that, of course, but 2-story buildings without elevators, we know that there's a sweet spot there where we can come in at a really good price point and provide good quality units at a good price point. So we went back and said, well, we want to do this. We want to do the workforce. What are some of the sites that we've looked at in the past? And then this one came out. It's a site that we're familiar with. We understand. You know, we have preliminary estimates from 2 different contractors already on the cost for the geopiers. There is a phase 2. It tells us kind of what's there, and we're familiar with that. So then from an architectural standpoint, well, what do we do? You know, we kind of started looking at it as architects and saying, well, what's an appropriate footprint, and how do we want to develop the site? And we purposely kind of held the street edge and created a framed entrance into the Kayak Park and the Riverwalk Park. We look at it and we look at this as, we want to, I guess, enhance or embrace and emphasize the connection to the Riverwalk. I think the Riverwalk is, really a great thing for Oshkosh, and I think tenants here, people living here, are going to want to get on that Riverwalk and get them downtown. I think that Kayak Park is a really neat feature. So architecturally, we are thinking of units that are going to serve people that are going to have bicycles, have kayaks, and so we're kind of envisioning incorporating kayak storage and bicycle storage, and how can we kind of do those in like cool architectural ways so that the bikes are on display and the kayaks are on display. If you ever go to like an REI store or a Land's End store, like Land's End really kind of pops. I've got some precedent pictures of Land's End where they've got several kayaks stored vertically outside and they're colorful, and so I kind of, that's what we're kind of thinking about architecturally. And then our design will come in and we'll look to those ideas. We'll look around the neighborhood and draw cues from the neighborhood and put together an architectural design that'll fit the site. I would say one other thing, if you look at our site plan, if Kelly could bring that up again, but we are kind of taking this concept of this formal kind of square architecture and putting it askew, and then moving from a more formal to a more natural kind of landscaped edge and softened edge that's going to flow into the waterway. I don't know. Any other thing I missed, Tim? Are you ready for questions?
Mr. Hintz?
Yeah, you talked about affordable housing. Do you have any idea, estimate right now of the range of rents in the unit?
I think correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, I think we're $1,000 a month for the one bedroom.
No, you're wrong.
Oh,
Oh dear.
So to be clear, what we're
Yeah.
saying is
Be
workforce.
talking to the mic. Sorry,
Sorry,
Tim.
sorry, that's all right. To be clear, we're talking workforce affordable. So that's not like what we're proposing over at Smith. It's not the low income affordable.
Right.
Workforce affordable, by definition, is 120% of the community median income.
Right,
So we're talking 900 for the one bedroom, 1,000 for one bedroom with a den, and then 1,100 for a two bedroom.
okay,
But that's going to include then the utility costs get factored into that too. So it's all of their housing is
sure,
going to be substantially underneath the 30% mark.
yeah, okay, good.
How many units are you proposing?
It's 26 on the Boatworks site and 30 on the opposite site, so
Yeah.
56 total.
Did I understand that basically you would start on the Boatworks site and then at some appropriate time, look at the other side?
Right, we know
Yeah,
virtually nothing about the other site.
right,
We feel like we know a lot on this site.
right,
The only thing, that prior phase two, at the time, that was before PFAS came out. So we know darn well that you gotta go in and retest the test for all that stuff then. But if we
Right.
come up clear there, I
Yeah.
think we wrote in the letter that we don't think, the bank may change their mind on it, but we think we can get away with just the phase two,
Right.
make that clear, and
Yeah.
not necessarily have to do the VP.
yeah. Well, not much has happened down there since 2004, has it?
Nope.
Thank goodness. Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions? Just, I know this is a little bit further detail, but are you guys looking at what is it called? The PACE energy efficiency
Yes.
stuff as well? And any plans for, and I don't know if this works with this site or not, like pervious pavement or any kind of solar, other electric charging stations, anything along those lines?
I don't think right now, I don't think we're above and beyond just what PACE would ask for. Now, that is definitely looking for energy efficiency and making sure
Right.
that all those cost savings could support the additional financing that we're hoping to get from them, but, yeah.
Okay, all right, thanks.
So are these single level homes or apartments, or are there two-story?
Two-story.
So how tall,
No, excuse me. The units themselves are single level.
okay, but
So
there's
the first floor unit, so they're not two-story units. So the first floor, all the first floor units will be fully accessible.
okay.
And the second floor will not. So there'll be stairs up to the second floor units.
So do you have any idea how much taller, and I guess I should have asked the question to the other group as well, how much taller these buildings will be than the average home?
They'll be very similar to the average two-story home.
Okay. Can I ask that group the same question? Sure. So,
Yeah, these would just, the plan is just for two-story homes, so they'd be the same as a two-story.
okay, thank you.
And it looks like along the back there of Fourth, it looks like they're mostly two-story, yeah, frame homes, yeah. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
You.
And so at this time, we will clear the room and we'll take a motion for closed session.
You guys.
I'll go.
I guess it's.
Yep, you can wait around. There's the lounge at the end of the hallway, or you can wait over here.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, we'll come out and get you.
Sure, thanks.
Yep.
However, this is a point of order. We're motion to look at the Michigan and West Fourth proposals, but we're also to look at the 1203 South Main proposal. There isn't any action item
That's correct.
on that. We're just talking about it today.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
If somebody could close the door and then we can go,
I got it, Sue.
take a motion for closed session.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session
Second?
Pursuant to.
Yeah, I think you have
pursuant
to
to
read
all
it.
the general terms and conditions.
Offline, please.
Still second that.
All right, and any discussion on the closed session motion? All right, please call the roll.
Birmingham,
Here.
Hintz,
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Stam,
Aye.
Ponick,
Aye.
Felter,
Present.
Palmieri.
Here.
In solidarity.
You guys gotta make it-
There's always one in it.
This local government meeting is currently in a break. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. This is GovTV, opening accessibility and understanding of local
I'll make a
government.
motion to approve 21-18, approve option to purchase vacant property on Michigan and West Fourth Avenue, Wisconsin Redevelopment LLC.
Second?
Discussion on 21-118, or 21-18? Please call the roll.
Birmingham,
Nay.
Hintz,
No.
Stam,
Nay.
Ponick,
Nay.
Felter,
No.
Palmieri.
No.
Yeah.
All right, our next item then,
I'll make a motion to approve 21-19.
A second?
discussion on 21-19. Please call the roll.
Birmingham,
Aye.
Hintz,
Aye.
Stam,
Aye.
Ponick,
Aye.
Felter,
Aye.
Palmieri.
Aye. All
Motion
right,
carries 6-0.
all right. Thank you very much.
And then, just have a couple items. I know that we have a couple members that need to go. I have the executive director's report here, and just a kind of a quick overview. We are still getting quite a few calls with the folks that are interested in parcels that we have signs on, so that's really great to see. Miles Kimball, they are starting to work on their property. The Riverwalk, at this time, they are looking to start in spring of 2022. There was some delay with the DNR, so they'll look at doing that right away and be done in June sometime.
I'm sorry, did you say that was for the Miles Kimball building or the Riverwalk?
The Riverwalk on Pioneer Drive, yes. And then along the 43 East 7th area, we discussed that a little bit, but they are, we're kind of working through our purchase agreement, and looking to, they're starting to do testing and just get the site prep ready. So it's very exciting. They're still on schedule to start construction in October of 2022. So we're looking at kind of the process to move forward with planning approval and a TID also.
Takes a whole year once you,
That's their desired schedule. They like to start in October and then have a year and a half, and then so they'd rent them out in spring of '24.
we desire a faster. Yeah.
Patience, patience. So if anybody else has any questions, please let me know.
I think that's it.
Okay.
So then, does anyone have any additional future agenda items? I did, Tom and I had talked about asking to kind of maybe get back on track of some former discussions in prior meetings about where we're at in planning on some of the RDA-owned properties, as well as just kind of a periodic financial reporting, again, going back to the bylaws. My apologies, I did not even see these until I started referencing something else. So apparently it really hasn't been a practice on a regular, consistent basis. So maybe with the new transition, folks would be interested in seeing a regular schedule of that.
I think it'd be helpful, yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And speaking of those bylaws, they probably need, and maybe all of the city bylaws need to be done, because there's a lot of gender-specific
Yes.
terminology in here that
Yes.
needs to now be changed.
Sure, yeah, and I did talk with our city attorney, and we are gonna take a look at these, because the latest version is from 2003. So
Okay,
we will,
it may be coming back to us for review.
yeah, absolutely, they will
Yeah.
be. So, yep, we will do that, and then with the financials, we will talk about those. RDA, we do have a budget, but it's a little different than others, so we'll explain that, and we'll kind of show the costs going in, costs going out, and get everybody on the same page.
Good update.
As well as the Near East, revisiting the 2006, can you believe it's almost 14 years since the Near East redevelopment plan was done, or
Right.
neighborhood plan? So, just for future agenda.
Yep, we'll have some staff feedback on that. We've had a lot of success, I think, with that plan, and obviously all the neighborhood associations around it, so we can discuss that also. And then obviously talking about all the RDA planning, just to look at all of those different properties we have, which will probably go into the housing study results that we'll be getting soon.
And our Christmas party that we always.
Oh, I didn't know anything about that either. So we'll take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you, everybody.